Well, good morning, friends. I have something over my head. What's that? What's that? What? It's a town clock, you say? What? A town clock. How important is time? Well, that's what we're going to consider this morning. As I'm sitting here, and believe me, it's a little noisy because we're going to have lots of cars driving back and forth. It's early in the morning, we're right on the main street, and it's at the bus stop. But I just wanted to take a minute this morning and consider time. Because sometimes we're rushing. And we have all these things that we think are important. And if we allow God to give us His time, He said there's an unforced rhythm of grace that He wants us to unforced. So there's a flow in the things of God. There's a flow in the life of God. There's a flow as we rest in God but follow His direction. Not a press, pump, push, push, pull. That's faster. So sometimes the things that we prioritize, we have to really ask the Lord, because that way we don't overcommit. We don't find ourselves stressed. We don't find ourselves racing the clock. The scriptures say that there's a time for everything under heaven and a purpose. So what God does, what He invests us, He values time and He values our lives and the way they're going to be spent. And He says when He gives us something to do, it has purpose. So remember that when you're thinking about time and scheduling and trying to figure out what your priorities are and valuing. The other thing is sometimes as people, we can feel like God's late. Like, do you see the clock, Lord? Do you see it's like time? Like it's even past time. I think about footprints and how the man was walking, and when his time got difficult, when his life got difficult at a time in his life, he thought God had forsaken him, that God forgot what time it was and that he needed help. And he's like, oh no, it was during that time I carried you, son. So the Lord is never late. He's always on time, and His way is perfect. What are some things we need to remember about time and God's faithfulness concerning it? That means when we feel like it's not happening and we can't figure out why, we can trust Him because He's trustworthy. He's worthy of our trust. We can put our trust in Him. Why? Because He's shown Himself faithful from generation to generation, because His word is true and His way is perfect. And the scriptures say He makes everything beautiful in His time. And He says our times are in His hands. Woot woot! I like that. Have a great and glorious, love-filled and victorious day, friends. Bye, friends.